kiss you.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah! You want to run or you want to duck down? You want to duck, just go over and get onto the bench and stay there.
You play to win the game.
My message for the fans, we're all frustrated with where we are right now.
Jets, Jets.
Jets. Gunny, what's good, my friend? Did you see the Hall of Fame stuff? What'd you think?
It was great, right? It was definitely a Jets type of a weekend, a Jets start to the freaking new season. Seeing our guys freaking, you know what I'm saying, finally get enshrined into the Hall of Fame, Klecko and Revis. That, I mean, it's those kind of things, man. Like, you know, it's why you love the game, right? Now seeing your guys that we got to grow up watching, you know what I'm saying? You got to see Joe. I got to see Revis. Enshrined.
I watched Revis too, you know.
Well, I'm just saying, like, in terms of, you got to see both. I got to see one of those legends. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just one of those things where it was a Jets weekend. I keep saying it, man, but I feel like it's the beginning of a fairy tale kind of a season for us. It started off right with the Hall of Fame.
You know, I agree, dude. And let me say this. Number one, welcome to the Thursday thick of it. I'm so tired. I skipped over my whole intro baloney. I just started talking to Gunny as if we're hanging out at a coffee shop. So what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Thursday thick of it. I'm GreenBean. That's Gunny Gumby right there. We're happy to be here. As you guys know, Jeremy Jets Lounge Chaos is in the back alongside of Finnegan. We're going to get you guys some clips and news and all kinds of fun stuff. We're going to have a good time tonight, man. It's an interesting time for us Jets fans. And you know what's really most interesting from my perspective is that everybody is softening out there. It's like, yes, you have the division where the Dolphin fans are just ridiculous and they're never going to, you know, that's their job, right? Patriot fans are different because they're a bunch of front runners. They don't even know what it's like to lose yet. You know, they're the entire generation. They're just like, they don't get it. So they're most of their new fans, they're all going to jump off when they suck for good, you know, for real. I mean,
yeah.
But then Buffalo is Buffalo. They're still the cream of the crop, but it is what it is. But as far as the entire NFL fandom and ESPN and an NFL network, there's a lot of softening going on, Gunny. Like I'm very uncomfortable. I have to admit, everybody's, especially, you know, watching Hard Knocks, they're all like, oh man, maybe this Jets thing, Robert Saleh's legit. Oh my God, the relationship of Hackett and Rodgers, and Rodgers is a great mentor. Oh, it's like, I don't know what to do with it, man. It's really crazy. Now the fairy tale thing that you're mentioning, it could very well be that. And it started, a couple Thursdays ago. We were together. We watched the awards ceremony. We saw our young Sauce Gardner win Defensive Rookie of the Year. We saw our young Garrett Wilson win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Then later that night, we got to see Revis walk on stage as a first ballot Hall of Famer. And then after many decades, even the younger Jets fans, I mean, you guys have heard us not shut up on my generation and older. I mean, we haven't shut up the whole, you're like, all right, well, I guess this Klecko guy was important because shit, man, they won't leave this alone, dude. It's been decades of us yelling, he's a Hall of Fame is bullshit. But you see that we weren't wrong, man. You know what I mean? Like, now it's finally seen. Like, wait a second, this guy does belong in the Hall of Fame. And that's the persistence of Jets fans and his supporters, the Howie Longs, Anthony Munoz, Peter King, Gary Myers, those types of guys. They never shut up. It's like he belongs in there, but we got to see it happen. Then we get Aaron Rodgers, and it's like, wait, this really could be the fairy tale season, man. Now Hard Knocks, it's like all this stuff is culminating, and we still don't have an offensive line, Gunny. What the hell is what is going? What are we do?
Look, Brian Burns is exposing what our offensive tackles are doing right now in that joint practice. It's very, very concerning. Seeing Aaron Rodgers get frustrated with it was I guess more of a shocker for me because I felt like he has a game plan when he has to go ahead. And of course, I think the thought process is he's going to elevate everybody on the roster to include make the offensive line better. But my gosh, there's nothing you can do when the offensive tackles don't even know what the meaning of blocking means. And Max Mitchell on as a left tackle apparently we're just asking for trouble. I'm more worried than I was last week about our offensive line. Going up against the Jets defensive line, you look at it and you're like, these guys are elite. It's going to happen to every team they play against. We get it. Going up against the freaking Panthers, no, that's concerning. They've got a pretty average, mid to average line, and they made it difficult for Aaron Rodgers during these joint practices. So, yes, I am now a little bit more concerned.
Now, it is practice, right? So we're not going to get nuts, but your choice of words, concerned, it's interesting. Now, conversely, on the other side, Michael Clemens is out there making dudes look like they don't even belong in the NFL.
That's facts.
Which is, so who knows, right? Who knows?
Yeah.
Is he that good? We watched him in the Hall of Fame game. He looked good.
Yeah.
But he didn't look like Brian Burns, and he does.
No.
So it's all relative, right? And we'll get to see in the preseason game this week what's really going on. But no matter how you slice it, it's an interesting thing because we are literally set up to compete for a championship. The one thing is this offensive line. And it's not that we don't have the potential to have a very good offensive line. It's there, but there is a lot of question marks, man. And we'll get into a lot of that today. I want to talk about this, this crossfire fella. So as you see, Braden was the first comment in here today. He's talking offensive line as well. But I think because he was the first comment, Crossfire came in and gifted him a membership to the OnlyFans on Talking Jets, Gunny. So Braden is temporarily the newest member of the Talking Jets OnlyFans crew from Crossfire, the Santa Claus of the channel, if I may. So that's beautiful. Thank you, Crossfire, and congrats, Braden. Braden down there in New Zealand, as we know, he's. I think he told us the other day he saw somebody wearing a Patriots jersey down there in New Zealand. That's some bullshit, Braden. We don't, we want to see more Jets. I want to comment, say our good buddy Watts2K, New York Sports Wicker Media, is in the chat, so say hello to him. It's good to see him in here. But Crossfire's out there, dude. Jeremy, did he just give away 5 more? He did. Crossfire gave, let's see who he gave them to here. So Crossfire just gave away 5 more Talking Jets OnlyFans memberships. That's Mitt Flair, it looks like. Steve Smith, Sloth Fan 19, Huge Johnson. It's nice to see you back here, Huge. And Dorcas Bella. You guys were all gifted memberships to the OnlyFans, so enjoy the emojis that are in there. And thank you, Crossfire. So look at this. So like Braden brought up, Gunny, the Zach Martin talk. What do you make of that? Is there any traction there, or is this just some baloney? It's not. This isn't anything realistic. The Cowboys aren't going to let him go, right? Like, what do you think about that?
I think if the Cowboys did that, it would be very surprising. Zach Martin is an intricate piece of that offensive line. The guy's elite. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. And for me, the words of Jerry Jones at his press conference 3 days ago is why I'm starting to think maybe there's some smoke, right? He stated, simply put, hey, listen, he's not here. So we're going to move on without him. Is pretty much what he said. You know what I'm saying? I'm paraphrasing, but in essence, they asked about Zach Martin. Zach Martin's not here. He's currently under contract, but he's not here, so we're going to move on without him. And that, to me, coming from Jerry Jones, who's somebody who's a bit of a businessman, is very, very careful, I would say, when it comes to the good players on his roster. I think there's a potential for a trade to be made there. Now, whether or not the Jets are going to do that, I don't know. Are we really going to – because if I'm not mistaken, Zach Martin's he's a guard. I think our issue right now is more so at tackle. Well, I know some people are saying, well, let's go ahead and just put, AVT out at tackle. You bring in Zach Martin, boom, like we're good. But I feel like it's a big splash name, right? But I just don't feel like it's going to be one of those things that actually impacts what our big concerns are on an offensive line, and that's tackle. But again, if I'm wrong, I'm not a coach, but I think for me, the only logical option that I would be interested in bringing in right now, I think is Taylor Lumen is the best tackle left in free agency, and he's coming from Tennessee, so he's got some familiarity in terms of the offensive line coach.
Yeah, but him and our Keith Carter offensive line coach have gotten into it. They don't like each other. That's the rumor.
Well, I look at it this way: are we trying to go ahead and make the line better, or are we going to let personal feelings get in the way of protecting Aaron Rodgers?
Always feelings, Gunny. Very, very important. Always lead with your feelings, everybody. Don't let logic get in the way of your emotions. It's a good point. I mean, there is familiarity, but I'd hate to like depend on like a second tier, like, right? I forget the issues with Taylor Lewin. There's some concussions, maybe. I got to look into it again. Maybe Finnegan can tell me. But there's another interesting, solution bubbling to the surface here. And let's play a clip. AVT, as we know, played numerous positions last year. And a lot of us don't really want to see him bounce out to tackle. We'd rather see him just play at the position where you're able to be an all-pro. Now, he played very good at tackle, but he's a little bit undersized to be, to end up on the outside. But he's good. But you'd rather be able to keep AVT, inside at guard. But anyway, it's coming up a lot. Now, this could be based on people's fears and everything, but let's go ahead and play this clip. This is AVT being asked. Whoops, wrong button. AVT is being asked about, what do you think about playing on the outside over here? Let's see here. Where the hell is it? There it is. I always forget. I'm still looking for Twitter, dude. It's getting old over here. All right. Can you guys see that, Gunny? Can you see it?
Yeah, I see it.
All right. All right, hold on, let me turn it up for you guys. All right, so this is AVT being asked about tackle.
We were talking to Salah earlier, and he said the best five are going to play, and he didn't rule out the possibility of moving to tackle in the event that that becomes the best five. So obviously you've done it before. How would you feel about becoming like a full-time tackle?
I mean, y'all know me. I've said it plenty of times before. I mean, I'm going to play wherever the team needs me to play, wherever they think I fit best on this opposite line. So whether that's guard or tackle, it really don't matter to me. I'm going to go out there and do my thing to the fullest. Right now, everything's pretty set. But, like last year, things can change in a heartbeat.
Do you do anything, like the cross-train to play tackle? I remember last year when it happened, you had said you've been working on it for a few weeks before it happened. So do you do stuff to prepare for that in case it happens?
Yeah, right now, no. Just because I'm, primarily a right guard, so I'm focused on that for right now. But in the off season, I try to work everywhere. Right, left guard, right tackle, stuff like that. So in the off season, yeah, but right now, primarily a guard.
So what do you do during the off season to try to prepare for a possibility of playing tackle?
I just take sets, different drive blocks, out of each position, really. During my conditioning is really going right guard, left guard, right tackle. Like I said, just taking sets and striding out 10, 20 plus yards. That's pretty much it.
Would you need time if they did decide to do that to get ready to do that, or you haven't had it in the past? I know it.
Yeah.
Here at USC, right?
Yeah, it would help. Definitely have time. I'm pretty sure anybody would appreciate the time. But if something bad goes down, knock on wood, nothing ever happens. But I feel like, I could go out there and perform at a high level.
All right, you can see that. Hold on. All right. So what'd you make of that? Look, he's kind of taken the team first role, right? He's a lot of team speak there. Now we know it's legit with an ABT. It's not like Elijah Moore saying, "Hey man, I don't care if I get 0 stats if we win. That's what's most important." Then he gets 0 stats and he goes, "I want to be traded." So ABT we already know is a team player. But that was a lot of, hey man, I'll do whatever. But the key thing for me was there's no cross training going on. I'm not playing tackle. I'm not doing any of that. I'm at guard. So what do you make of that? Is that a viable solution? Of course, in an emergency, it is what it is. But is that something you want to see happen, Gunny? Where do you think this is? Are you buying ABT's little?
I believe ABT, everything you just said. I believe that whatever the team needs him, he's going to jump on there. He proved that last year. He played at a high level. And I do believe that he's that guy. He's not making it up. He's not pretending. He's saying it because he feels it. He believes it. And he's just that kind of a dude. Like, he's a high character dude. Whatever the team needs to do for them to win, he will do. In terms of him not, training for it, it makes sense. I've been saying this ever since last season. I think that, you put him at the tackle position, he's serviceable, he's good. But as a right guard, he's elite, right? So his natural position of a right guard, you got an elite lineman protecting him that interior of that offensive line. That matters. That counts. And he does it at an elite level. I believe wholeheartedly if he was at right guard for the whole season last year and stayed healthy, he's definitely a Pro Bowler. He's definitely in the NFL's top 100. He's that dude. And I understand Coach Saleh has made it clear he has no intentions of playing him anywhere but right guard, and I think that's doing right by the team and is doing right by him. Right, in terms of the next couple of years is going to be years where he can go ahead and pretty much put some more tape on add to his resume. So when we go ahead and do offer him a contract, this is a guy that's getting taken care of, and I do believe that Coach Saleh really means it when he says he's just trying to get these guys paid what they're worth. So I don't see a situation unless it's an emergency, break glass type of situation where we see AVT at any of the tackle positions this season. And if it gets to that point, then already we're fighting uphill because that means things have gone horribly wrong. But at right guard, we know we have an elite right guard there. He can go ahead and help anybody on that right side of the freaking line, be better. He can elevate the right tackle's game as well because he's there playing at an elite level. So I think what he's saying is true, but I do believe that he's going to stick at right guard right now because it just makes too much sense to have him in an elite position to go ahead and put up elite stats.
Yeah, see, I don't know. I mean, look, and Robert Saleh doubled down a little bit. Let's show this clip as well.
Yeah.
So Robert Saleh is saying some things as well, like Gunny just mentioned some. But let's take a look at this. It's really interesting, guys, because you all know I'm a Joe Douglas supporter. Again, I haven't loved everything he's done, right? There's some trade. Some trade, lately the trades are kind of whatever. But there's some draft picks that I was like, I was in a different sphere of consciousness, let's call it. Like maybe a Creed Humphrey over an Elijah Moore, like those kind, stuff like that. I think that was the same draft. But things like that. There were guys that I wanted. Interestingly enough, I'll tell you guys, I don't know if he's out there now, but Bill Ruckert, Jeremy Ruckert's dad, very recently reminded me that do you still want a linebacker at 101? That's what he said to me. So he's busting my balls about I was not rooting for us to take Jeremy Ruckert at that slot. And his dad busted my chops last week and said, yeah, so you still want a linebacker at 101, do you? And I said, nah, look, I love Jeremy Ruckert. And it, it is what it is. But so there are some things, but I think my main gripe is that we didn't make sure at all costs that this offensive line was done. Like, he brings in 2 guys from the draft pretty much every year. He trades up 2 first-round picks. So he's definitely addressing it, right? Like, it's not a McCagnon where he's ignoring it. Mike McCagnon used 2 draft picks in 5 years on offensive line. The highest was a 3rd-round pick. So it's significantly different, and I'll acknowledge that. But still, like, you look at the Chiefs, who in one offseason got rid of like a guard and both their tackles and a center, and then a year later they were done. They were fixed. You know what I mean? And I think, especially with Joe Douglas, he came in here as what, Gunny, the offensive line guru, right? It was
yep. Exactly.
So it's a rub. And I think anybody, even, if you're being objective, even somewhat of a homer where Joe Douglas is concerned, like myself, you have to admit this is a little bit concerning. It's like, all right, come on, man. Here we are. We got Aaron Rodgers, and we're still trying to figure out who our tackles are. It's a rub, right? So we don't want to be dealing with this at this point. But let's take a look at this. This is from our boy Paul Boy Green Esden on X. Fucking, is that what we're calling it, man? Is it still Twitter, Gunny? I have no idea.
I mean, I still call it Twitter, and even I do the same thing as you do. I'll be looking at my app to open it up, and I'm like, where the hell is my Twitter? Oh, yeah, it's X, and I gotta go to remember to do that. To me, it's still Twitter. I'm still tweeting. I'm still Twittering. I'm not Xing or whatever.
Yeah, what do they want us to say? What does Elon Musk want us to say? He wants us to call it Zeets? Is that what it is?
Zeets, or just X. I'm gonna X today. I'm Xing.
I'm Xing.
Sounds ridiculous.
Well, the next generation, they're just gonna call it that, and then we'll be old. You'll see how it goes, dude. Anybody saying tweets will be old men. All right, here we go. Here's Robert Saleh being asked about the offensive line.
Offensive line, Robert.
My optimistic side will say we got time. There's still Dwayne's coming back. There's still a lot of pieces. We've got some cards in our back pocket that we can use. But yeah, as a coach, you want it done yesterday. We want these guys rolling. We want confidence. We want to start humming. But I also understand all the different moving parts and verbiage and new scheme. And Keith has a different style to his to the way he coaches and his technique. So there's a learning curve, and so that part of it I have empathy for and an understanding that it is going to take some time for them. But yeah, I'm a coach. I always wanted it yesterday.
If no one emerges in that tackle competition and seizes the job, is AVT a possibility there?
We're going to play our best five, and if that's one of the five, if that's how one of them shake up, then it's something we're going to have to talk about.
Does versatility give you more confidence that you'll be ready for week one, despite what you've seen so far?
Talking about
AVT's versatility.
Yeah, no. AVT is a very special football player. You guys know how we feel about AVT, and what he did a year ago is unprecedented in football. And so no, we've got full confidence. Like I said, we want to keep him at guard as best we can because we think he's an all-pro guard, would still be an unbelievable tackle, probably a Pro Bowl tackle. But we know that his best trait is that he will be his absolute best. And the inside, but his versatility obviously is very, very beneficial.
All right. So, look, he said there's time, and there is, right? We're literally going into week one of the preseason. I mean, yes, we started a little early because of the Hall of Fame game, but there's time. And the whole slow roll of Becton, I think, is the right way to do it, Gunny. We talked about this a little bit last week. It's important to, not to just throw him in and just, hey, he's got to be ready 100%. Slow roll him back, and I'm with that. And we haven't seen Dwayne Brown and Max Mitchell's kind of, he's onboarding as well. And there's a lot there, right?
Right.
We're not falling off a cliff here, but it's interesting that the AVT conversation is already happening. And I don't know, man. It's just one of those things that, I try to be a patient fan. I do. I think I'm pretty good, at least compared to a lot of us around here. I'm pretty good. And that comes with age. I'm old and tired. I don't, whatever. But I don't know. It's interesting. I have a question in the chat. I asked, the poll question earlier, do you think the Jets will sign Zach Martin? It was resoundingly no. It was like 68% no. The next question is, will AVT end up at tackle? And listen to this, 56% at this point think he's going to. Yes, he's going to end up being one of our tackles. Now, if you haven't answered the poll, go ahead and do that. Let's see what you guys think. Let's get a real read on the chat here and see what it is that we think is going on and what you think is going to happen. But I mean, realistically, is there a way that the offensive line looks like, Dwayne Brown on one end, Becton on the other, or do you think Max Mitchell's got the inside track to the right tackle? What do you think with the Becton thing, Max Mitchell, Billy Turner? What do you think, Gunny? What do you see happening?
I think when it boils down to it, I think Mekhi Becton understands that he needs to get some quality film on tape. Right, he's got to get something on tape that's going to go ahead and justify him getting a contract. It's not with us next season, with somebody. And if Dwayne Brown comes in and he's clicking on all cylinders and he's healthy, why are we going to make the veteran guy who played mostly all last season and move him to the right side, right? It just doesn't make sense. I think Mekhi Becton's going to want to be out there. He's going to want to go ahead and get a chance to play. Now, I think the real question is his knee healthy, right? Him having to pull himself out during the Hall of Fame game because he felt discomfort playing on that turf was concerning because I think we're playing 13 of our games on turf this season. So it's not like he's going to have a lot of grass games for his knee to go ahead and get adjusted to it. And so for me, I don't even know if Mekhi Becton is all the way healthy. But if he is, and he can go, and they've said he can go, then I think it's Dwayne Brown at left tackle. You put Mekhi at right tackle. You got Laken Tomlinson, and I just hope Laken Tomlinson didn't forget how to play football. Right, that last year was an anomaly, not his reality. And you got, of course, the right guard in AVT. I won't lie, I have enjoyed seeing what some of the stuff Becton's been doing against second teamers. I want to go ahead and see him move up to the first team and take a couple of reps there too. We know he was getting cooked by the likes of our speed rushers, Bryce Huff and Carl Lawson, when they moved him up. So they had to move him back down, have him a little chance to go ahead and reacclimate it. I want to still see him before the season kicks off. But for me, it's Dwayne Brown at left tackle. Right tackle, you go ahead and put in Mekhi Becton. It just makes too much sense for all parties involved.
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm right in that same pocket. I want to acknowledge Crossfire. He handed out 5 more memberships, so congratulations to Furious Grimp, Fry Guy, the Dark Net, George Marco, Jersey Jets, and Evil Stewie. You guys are all the newest members of the Talking Jets OnlyFans. Congratulations, and thank you, Crossfire. He is just, I'm telling you, man, he's the Santa. I thought I was trying to be Santa Claus. Didn't work. Even the beard, nothing. It's Crossfire. And we have a super chat from Matthew Zucker. Thank you, Matthew. Thanks for waiting and being patient. He's going to switch gears a little bit. He says, gentlemen, happy Thursday. Should Rodgers play at home against the Bucs? And if you don't know, guys, next week we have joint practices against the Buccaneers up in Florham Park, and they're going to play in the preseason game at MetLife next week. So that's what he's talking about. Why not throw extra blockers? Tell the fans, pack the stadium, get him prepared for what he will see come 9/11. Take the risk. So Gunny, right? What do you think?
Oh my God, no. Hey Matthew, appreciate the super chat, brother. Nothing but love for you. But I have to respectfully disagree. Listen. There are 2 people we cannot afford to go down this season. There are absolutely 2 individuals that we cannot afford to get injured and lose significant time. Aaron Rodgers and Quinnen Williams. Either one of those guys go down for significant time this season, it's a wash. That defense cannot go without Quinnen Williams. We saw it last season. Without him being in the middle, it's not as disruptive. It's not as fast. It's not as freaking aggressive. And we saw the Zach Wilson story last year. I don't think we all want to go into this season with him at the helm. Granted, we've been excited about what we've seen positively in terms of his moving forward, but I'm sorry. There's players we can't lose. I'm not saying we can't. Everybody's important, right? Sauce is important, DJ is important, ABT is important. I'm saying we cannot lose. We cannot lose Aaron Rodgers, and we cannot lose Quinnen Williams. Those 2 guys go down, and both sides of the ball take massive hits. And I don't see any reason to go ahead and risk it in any preseason games that don't count. No, if we're going to lose Aaron Rodgers, at least lose Aaron Rodgers when in the regular season. To lose him meaninglessly, we forgot what happened to Zach Wilson last year. How we all had to hold our breath because he freaking went down on a non-contact, and he's 22 years old. No, I'm sorry. Call me scared. Call me terrified. I just can't see us risking losing Aaron Rodgers in a meaningless preseason game before the season even gets here. No. I'm gonna have to respectfully decline and disagree.
It's funny how you said, call me scared, call me terrified. He didn't say, call me scared, call me, stupid. No, he just doubled down on scared.
On fear.
Pure fear. But you're so right, man. I mean, number one, you nailed it with the players. We can get around, losing certain players, but there are some guys, and we saw Quinnen Williams' impact last year.
Yes.
Obviously in the games, but when he wasn't there for that one game, it was a different defense, man. I mean, he's that important. I still think we have a good defense without Quinnen Williams, but he's special. And you need those guys. If you're going to go to the championship, if you're going to do those great things, you need your elite players. And that's been what the Jets have been missing for forever. We've had good players. We've had some nice teams. Greg Williams did a great job kind of squeezing the lemon because we had some talent. We had Marcus May, we had Jamal Adams, we had Jordan Jenkins. We had some guys that were quality football players, but nobody was elite. And that includes Jamal Adams. I know he was, two-time All-Pro and the whole thing, but, let's be real. A safety that can't catch, you know what I mean? And it's not just like he doesn't have the opportunity. Yeah, I mean, it's hitting him in the face, hitting him in the chest. He literally can't catch. I mean, that's not elite. You know what I mean? So that's what we've been missing for a long time. So you need these guys. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers falls into that category as well. But it's like, Matthew, to put Aaron – I mean, now look, if they put him out there for a series and just say, hey, here's 3 plays, just kind of – just get the juices going, maybe. But I think Aaron Rodgers is an 18-year vet. And he started for 15 years. We don't have to worry too much about him, getting up to speed. I mean, he's up to speed. And especially because it's Hackett's offense and the whole thing. And, there's just so much there. I don't think it's worth the risk either. I'd love to see him. Don't get me wrong, right? It's like the fan in me. Yeah, sure. I'd love to see him. But I think, I don't know, man. Let's just get him ready for the season. Again, if they throw him out there for a series just to say hello to the fans and, hand the ball off a couple times, throw a quick slant over the middle and get the hell off the field. Okay. But I don't want to see, remember, look, if any fan base knows, when Rex threw Sanchez back in there, and it's different, don't get me wrong, but it's not worth it, man. Preseason. No. And this is why I have no issue with Becton pulling himself last week. It's like everybody's slipping and sliding all over the field. We saw it with numerous players. He's feeling it. And he's like, hey, dude, this game means, literally nothing. Right. Why am I going to risk my knee, man? It's not worth it. And I support that. I know a lot of fans like there's always something with Becton. And I get that. I do. But it's the first preseason game. He hasn't played in 2 years. He looked really good. Get him off the damn field. And look, we saw it with Avery Williamson too. We've seen this stuff with guys hanging out on the field too long in preseason, and it goes just worst case scenario. We don't want to see that stuff. It's not worth it. Now, if somebody needs work, like a Will McDonald or somebody like that, we want to get them Tippmann. We want to get them their work and their reps. Fine. But Aaron Rodgers, I don't think I want to do that with.
I think we got to remember, Aaron Rodgers is practicing every freaking time he steps on the field against a top 5 defense. Like, he's literally practicing against like a more difficult defense than he'll face throughout the entire season, right? I don't even think there's another defense that was ahead of us last season that will be facing off this coming season. So I think that when it comes down to it, Aaron Rodgers is getting plenty of work. He's getting plenty of timing with his receivers, his tight ends. Now, I'm anxious to see him get Breece Hall in the room. If anything, that's what I'm really anxious about. So Breece Hall can get on the same page with Aaron Rodgers, because that's going to go a long way. We don't want no missed or fumbled freaking handoffs and stuff like that. Like, that's going to be big. But, yeah, Aaron Rodgers is facing off against a top 5 defense, and that's potentially in the running for, number 1 defense in the league coming this season. So he's getting plenty of reps, quality reps that he won't even see, in a meaningless preseason game.
Yeah, it's the truth. Look at Jets forever here. Joe Douglas is the best general manager in NFL history. See, this is why, when, Jets forever, you know who you are, the deal. This is why I love this guy. You know what I mean? Like, everybody said, I've been asked numerous times, why don't you ban this guy? He's a troll. He's not a troll. He's a quirky fella who's on the extreme of whatever argument he's on. It's Zach is the best quarterback ever, or or this guy's the worst ever, or Joe Douglas is the best in NFL history. I'll tell you what, though, Jets forever, and I mean this sincerely. What Joe Douglas has done to this team, people can say, and even like what I said before about the offensive line, that's a rub, and he's made some mistakes with his free agent signings, and it's a mixed bag what we've gotten from Joe Douglas, but you cannot deny Idzik couldn't do it. Tannenbaum, after the 2 years, he got us to 2 years, 2009 and 2010. But his tenure was largely up and down, and obviously the end was very, very ugly. Idzik couldn't do it. McCagnon couldn't do it. And Joe Doug, look what he's done. Look what he's done in 3 seasons, man. Now this going into really his 3rd season. The first season with Gase is whatever, but with Saleh, his coach and everything. Dude, it's amazing. It's amazing what he's done. But if this guy gets us to the Super Bowl, or even like late in the playoffs and all that stuff, and we become like a good team, dude, can you deny? Like it's different. It's different than just, hey, a new GM for the Steelers or the whatever, the Ravens. Like they're already fine. The Jets, it's a whole different thing. It's an overhaul, man. So it really is something. I'm not ready to call him the best general manager in NFL history just yet, but I'm a fan, dude. I really am. Tom Cahill checking in. What's up, Tom? Good to see you, buddy. Guys, we can see Tippmann at right guard. It would be deadly. Well, let me say this. Tippmann does have that versatility. We know that. But I think what they're doing with Tippmann right now, Tom, is they're trying to get him the reps at the position they want him to play, right? Which is center. And the good news is like in the event, an AVT does get bounced out to tackle. Max Mitchell's not going to do it. Becton's not holding up, whatever it might be. You can bounce AVT outside. Again, not optimal, but we happen to have Connor McGovern, Wes Schweitzer, these guys at guard that we know Connor McGovern can play guard at an NFL level. We know this already. He's done it. Now he's getting older every year, as we tend to do, but he would be a fine guard in my opinion. And again, NFL caliber starter at guard. We're not talking about a Van Roten or even a Dr. Blocker kind of coming in at the end of the season, that sort of thing. Connor McGovern has been here for a few years. We know him. And I think that would be a more appropriate bounce over to guard than Joe Tippmann. Joe Tippmann, let's not confuse the kid. He's young. He's going into his first pro offense. He's got his head spinning. He looked great. He looked great. We heard a week earlier that he sucked and there was no chance and blah, 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 bust. And we saw him in the game. And again, he's not playing against the starters or anything, but that's what it is. He goes out there, he plays the most offensive snaps of anybody on the team. And he, no pressures, looked great in the run game. And I think it was a fantastic start for him. So we know that the potential is there. And let's just keep him the course. Let's not confuse him. That's my thought on it. I'd rather see McGovern bounce over to guard before I saw Tippmann bounce over to guard. Unless McGovern, at center and whatever, you know what I mean. But I'd rather McGovern go to guard. What do you think about that one? Any interest in bouncing Tippmann to guard if things kind of work out that way?
I agree with you 1,000%. People tend to forget that the center position is literally a very, very cerebral position, right? This isn't a position where you can just throw anybody out there. Like, the kid is a rookie, having to take in a lot of knowledge right now. He has to be on the same page as the quarterback. He's going up against an elite defensive line. Let him learn the game. He has to slowly be brought along. I know people are calling him a bust already, which is miraculous to me, how somebody could be a bust that's never played a snap in the NFL. But, some Jets fans, right? To each their own. But no, I like him at center. I like him building his confidence, understanding the playbook, because he's going to have to be one of those guys that's pretty much, calling out blocks as well and telling the quarterback what he sees. Like, he's supposed to be the co-pilot to the offense, right? Like, he touches the ball just as much as the quarterback does. So that matters. So I like him at center. I want him to stay at center. I don't want to confuse him by asking him to go to the right or the left. No, you're playing center. You're going to learn this position, even though it's going to take you a little while before you can actually see some playing time.
Yeah, that's kind of where I am. So I don't know, Tom. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see where we go, because the good news with all these offensive linemen that we have is, for the most part, we have a lot of versatility. And that's something that Joe Douglas has focused on. A lot of these guys, whether it be Tippmann, McGovern, AVT, they can move around. And that's something that you want. You don't want to get into a situation where a guy gets hurt and then everybody, I only play this, like a Dwayne Brown. He only plays left tackle. It's like, I don't know. I can't. I mean, I guess I could go over there, but he hasn't played there in 15 years. So, you want to get as much versatility as you can. And I think we've done a good job with that. So, all right, look, we have a clip here that Finnegan sent us in the private chat about Connor McGovern talking about helping Tippmann. So let's see what this is all about here. Let me get this up for you guys. Connor McGovern, if you're not aware, has a pretty impressive mustachio, which is, that has value. That has value. So let's see.
Aesthetics matter.
That's right, man. We talked about the mullet for years. He's now a Dolphin. So let's see what we got here. Let's look at this. This is Connor McGovern talking about helping Tippmann.
Oh, yeah, I love this. This was great.
Teach Tippmann and bring him along versus he's drafted to take your job, right? He's competing for your job. So how do you kind of make those two things focus?
Yeah, you got to teach the next guy up. It's when I signed here, I was well aware that they're going to draft a guy. They told me that when I signed, like, hey, we're bringing a young guy in to compete with you. There's already two guys here competing to take your job. And they're like, if you want to sign here, and we'd love to have you, but you're competing. And honestly, I think the competition's made me better. It's gotten, in my opinion, the best out of me in this camp. But yeah, I mean, I know I'm not going to be around this team forever. I'm trying to enjoy it as much as I can, being here with this great group of guys, this team, and then bringing Tip along. If that's part of my legacy, then that's part of my legacy. And if I can turn him into a Hall of Famer and I'm sitting in the crowd in Canton one day and get to point at him while he's giving a speech, that'd be pretty cool too. So, it's part of the game. I had guys that brought me along that knew I was there as a young player to take their job, and it's just part of the game, and one that, it's a tough job, tough industry to be in, but it's part of it.
There you go. A little bit of a mixed answer there. I'm happy to help. It's tough. It's tough knowing you're going to compete, but at least it's nice to hear on the front end that, they told him, like, hey, look, dude, we'll sign you. We will, would love to have you, but you're competing for your job. I know you've been the starter here for 3 years, but that's not going to be handed to you this time around. We're looking to upgrade, which is great. Hey, I'm a big believer in competition, Gunny. I think that's the way to go. Unless you have like a Garrett Wilson, somebody, a Sauce Gardner. Sauce Gardner shouldn't be competing for his job. He should be working on, just getting better. Every rep should be his. Those types of things. It's like having Revis here. You don't have Revis and you go, oh, hey, man, you're going to be competing. Like, no. But somebody like a Connor McGovern and a lot of other positions, dude, competition. Like Robert Saleh's saying with the offensive line, the best five are going to play.
Yep.
The best five are going to play. If that's Becton at left tackle, great. If it's Dwayne Brown at left tackle and Becton at right, great. If Becton can't beat out Max Mitchell, so be it. If Max Mitchell and Becton don't look like they're quality enough to protect Aaron Rodgers, our number one asset this year, and it's got to be ABT, then so be it, man. Because we have guys that can fill in at guard that might be better than what's filling in at tackle. And that's what happened last year. We saw – the reason that AVT kicked out, we had Connor McDermott, as the backup tackle, and I guess he's fine, but not good enough. Like, we had a much stronger backfill at the guard position with Nate Herbig. Nate Herbig was able to fill in at guard, and then AVT at tackle. That was a significantly better alignment than AVT staying at guard, and then having Connor McDermott go ahead and protect the blind side of a bewildered Zach Wilson. We can't do it, man. So I get it. And I think I actually support that. So it's going to be real interesting. Like Salah said, it's early, guys. I mean, it's early in the preseason. There's lots of time left. And that's what this is for. This is for getting these guys up to speed, getting them their reps, getting them comfortable. So everything can change because Becton looked pretty friggin' good in his time on the field. And did you hear? I'm sure you did, Gunny, but he's not on a pitch count this week. Becton, that is. He's not on a pitch count.
Yeah.
We're going to play.
Just going to play him.
As long as he's comfortable out there. So maybe we get maybe we get a full 30 snaps or whatever it might be out of Becton. What do you think you see? You think you see something similar or as far as the 7 snaps, or do you think we see a little bit longer from Becton?
I think we'll see a little bit longer from there because even he knows he has to go ahead and push himself a little bit. Even he knows he's got to go ahead and get these reps in now because at the end of the day, like he can't fight for his job if he's not out there fighting for his job, right? And I think he saw some positive stuff last week. He's looking at the tape. He's realizing he did really well. His confidence is coming back, a little bit of swagger back, and you'll see him do a little bit more this week. I don't know if he's going to play a full freaking game, but I can see him maybe doing a full quarter, hopefully 2 quarters. But they say he's not on the snap count, but I do believe they're going to want to pull him, you know what I'm saying, maybe after a quarter or 2. You don't want to risk keeping him out there if he's having a good game and his confidence is high, just for him to go ahead and wind up getting rolled over on some unnecessary dump play. I do believe that he'll get maybe a quarter or 2 of play this weekend.
Yeah, that's my hope. I think even though this is technically week 1 of the preseason, it is, right? We just got that extra game, but for us, it is. It's week 2. You know what I mean? It is. So if Becton comes out and 7-8 plays in, he's pulling himself, I'm going to start. Alarm bells are going to start going off in my head. Again, there's still time, but it's like, okay, man, all right, we're on an NFL field, all right? So it's not the Hall of Fame game field, which is notoriously bad, by the way. There's been numerous complaints about it. And again, we saw it happening. Zach Wilson's little scamper around the left side, which he would have had a clear first down, is one example. He slipped and fell on his face. So anyway, you know what I mean? Joe Grana saying we need to trade for Martin and bump ABT out to right tackle, allowing other tackles to compete at left tackle. Well, look, I think if you have the opportunity to get a Zach Martin, number one, guys, we got to remember he wants a new contract. So there's that, right? That's kind of that's what's going on down there. That's the discrepancy between him playing for them and not playing for them. So he wants to be paid approximately, the rumor is $13.5 million a year. So can we do that? Technically, I think we can, but is that what you do? But, if you can add a guy like that, shit, that'd be fantastic. It just sucks that it happens to be at the position that we're strongest at on the offensive. It's like, and then you push ABT out to tackle. We know we can do it, but I don't know, man. I really don't know, Joe. I'd rather see one of our tackles because I'm a big believer in Becton. I am. I'm on board for the slow roll. I am. And when we saw him out there on the field last week, guys, he looked good, man. Like, let's just, all feelings aside, and I know it was a short little stint, the data collection period, it wasn't all that great, right? But what he did out there was he looked like Becton. And pushing guys off the field, leveling dudes, clearing out the entire left side of the line, those types of things, and making the pocket, man. He looked good. So I'm on board for Becton being given the chance. But man, as it starts to creep further and further, man, we're getting to this season. We got to have somebody that we feel good about. And that's kind of, it's like, I wish we didn't have to have these questions. Ron Weiss, Gunny, checking in. He says, hey, guys, who do you think farted so bad in Hard Knocks? Stinky poo. LOL. Who was it? Yeah, they said something.
It was Rodgers, man.
Yeah, right. Well,
I think it was Aaron Rodgers.
The old rule is he who smelt it, dealt it.
Yeah.
That's the rule.
Yeah.
It's the rule, Ron.
It looked like it was Rodgers because if you look at both guys to the side of him, like they didn't even smell anything. But he's like, oh, man, what is that? Like he started looking at them. And then it took them a second. They were like, oh, wow. And both from each side of him did that? Yeah, nah. That was Rodgers. He definitely farted.
So that's what we're thinking, Ron. But look, I don't know, man. Look, I don't know if that's the thing I would have brought out on Hard Knocks. Maybe the access is so limited that that's what they got to pull out there. And we'll talk about Hard Knocks. We'll shift over there in a moment, but we could do it right now. What did you think of Hard Knocks? I mean, One Jets Drive came out on Monday. Hard Knocks was out on Tuesday. What'd you think, Gunny? Did you have a preference? You think one was better than the other?
Well, first and foremost, I would like to issue an apology to each and every supporter of the show that wanted the show to be here. They wanted Hard Knocks with the New York Jets. I was adamant about not wanting it. I was very vocal about it. I thought it would be a distraction. And then I realized after watching Hard Knocks that I was in essence supporting the ability to deny us the opportunity to be a part of this process, right? There's things that Hard Knocks shows you that One Jets Drive does not show you. I was a big fan of the show. I watched it 3 times the night it came out, the morning on the way to work, and then by lunchtime I had to watch it a 3rd time. Like it's one of those things where you get more of a behind the scenes type of look where you're not, pandering to the camera. Like I think a lot of times One Jets Drive does so well as trying to catch the positives and trying to go ahead and create a motivational story. Hard Knocks is just telling the story, right? And just seeing the interactions, the engagements, and just seeing those guys being real, not knowing when the camera was on them or not. Whereas in One Jets Drive, they always know. Like it shows you a different aspect of it. It gives you an opportunity to kind of be in that room with these guys and in essence be a part of the process. And that's exciting. So I apologize. I apologize to everybody who wanted it, everybody who thought it was silly for us that didn't want it, not for it not to be there. You were right. It's Hard Knocks, and I should have known. I watch the series every year. I just damn with distractions at camp. But it's a welcoming surprise, and I'm on board. I thought it was great. I thought it was great too, and you don't have to apologize. I mean, look, it's nice that you apologize, but you don't have to apologize, buddy. I mean, I didn't want it either, and you know why I didn't want it? It's not because, I mean, there's the distractions, there's the press, but I didn't want it because the Jets didn't want it. You know what I mean? They didn't want it, right. So I support them. But I mean, we knew it was going to be enthralling. You know what I mean? Just watching our team was super cool to see. I have an apology. I didn't know my mic wasn't on. I'm here talking into a mic. It wasn't even on. Jeremy, who's supposed to tell me, he's the producer of the show. This guy sucks. What's he doing? What? Hold on a second. Let me bring Jeremy on. Well, you hear the difference now? Now it's a mic. Well, yeah, now it's more. It's definitely deeper. Yeah, well, that's the whole thing. I have my deep toner. My tonalizer is that's that GreenBean on the mic voice, you know what I'm saying? Right, yeah. It's my sultry. I can't get sultry. I was just speaking into the air. Like my Mac is just picking it up in the air. Hold on, let me see. Jeremy, why didn't you tell me, man?
You got 230 people in here. You got Gunny sitting right there. Nobody noticed.
Yeah, I didn't notice.
They're all active participants. You're in the back checking it out. You got the, you're like, like you ever go to a concert, like in the middle, they have that, the sounding board and the mixing boards and all that sort of shit. That's called front of show. Those guys are there because they have the best position to hear and see everything and they can correct. You are in front of show. I look to you.
Okay. I will force you now to do a sound check before the show.
Yes.
That's what
that's totally fine. You know what? Let me say this too. I think Jeremy's a bit off tonight. You know what he said earlier, Gunny?
What do you like?
This is what Jeremy said. So if you guys don't know this, Doritos has come out with a new flavor called what's it called? Hot mustard. Jeremy?
Well, they came out with it. It's hot mustard.
Yeah, it's out. And I've had it. It's great.
No.
Hot mustard, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Jeremy said this. Hot mustard is my favorite Dorito flavor.
I said it might be my favorite.
What the fuck are you talking about? No, it's
Jeremy
good.
Said it ain't so.
It's good, but nobody can take down nacho cheese or even Cool Ranch, right?
I'm a Cool Ranch guy, and I have a hard time believing that hot mustard is going to dethrone nacho cheese or Cool Ranch as 1 and 2 respectively. I'm shocked. I'm shocked by this. I'm shocked.
Modine, you got to let us know. Modine's in the house. He's trying to be nice tonight. It looks like I haven't seen him do too much. He's prepping for something. I know he is, but he seems to be kind of. But Modine, is this can it be real that hot mustard can legitimately be someone's favorite Dorito flavor? Is this?
I did say, and this flavor goes back, as you said, it's about how old and how many years. Taco flavored Doritos, taco flavor. That went back before Cool Ranch. And I don't know why, but a friend told me it's still available. You don't see it in regular supermarkets, but you can see it in certain supermarkets. Okay. And you dissed me on that, and plenty of people love the taco flavored Doritos.
I've never
seen taco flavored Doritos.
I think that's just horseshit. Do you remember, like, they've had, Doritos releases flavor, lime, jumping jack cheese. I mean, there's all kinds of, and they're fine. They're good. The mustard was good. I was pleasantly surprised, but
it had that Chinese mustard flavor. It was delicious.
Jeremy, you got to tell me if my mic is working, buddy. You're all Doritoed up. I don't know what's going on.
If you keep this up, people are going to start calling me Baba Booey.
Well, it's very much it's appropriate. So, all right, yeah, Jeremy, his newest video is on the Brooklyn Brothers channel, guys. If you haven't seen it, it's funny. It's a good channel. It really is. It's enjoyable. But he's complaining about he doesn't see golden cake with chocolate icing anymore. It's a big problem, it seems. There's too much red velvet out there. Jeremy's mad. He's pissed off. This is great. You got to see the video. It's great.
But
all right, Jeremy. Thank you.
I don't think I've seen one in a while. Golden cake with chocolate icing.
Jeremy, yeah, I mean, I depend on Jeremy, man, to help me. He's like, hey, man, this is not working. There, or whatever. There's somebody's muted. Like, Jeremy's good, man. He's on top of all that shit. And then we're an hour into the show, and I look over and my mic's not even on. I'm like, my mic's not on.
Look, listen, I'll tell you this. What is that? If that was your Apple, your MacBook like microphone, that thing is popping, because I didn't know. You can clearly hear it now.
All right.
But
all right,
I did not know.
I'll give Jeremy a little bit of benefit of the doubt. I've heard it's funny. Like, when I listen back, if I ever listen back to these things, like I look for clips and stuff like that. If I listen, I notice instantly. I'm like, what, was my mic not on? What the fuck? What's that? Nobody told me my mic was. So yeah, I hear it right away. Yeah, because I'm all about the sultry, man. I wanna lay it on thick
with that deep freaking Barry White type voice. I like that.
That's right.
Your voice.
That's right. This is the Thursday thick of it, after all. I want to lay it on thick. Pooch guy checking in with a really interesting wrinkle that I didn't even think about, man. And this is true. This week will be the same stadium where the Becton knee problem started. Don't forget, in 2021, opening day, we were playing the Panthers in Carolina.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
That's where Becton got rolled on. Now, the good news is it wasn't the turf, Pooch guy, right? It wasn't a turf issue. It was a Greg Van Roten issue. But still, it's a great point. And like he brings up, that mental hurdle, like going back to where it all started, I think could really be something. I mean, that's legit. This is where, this is where it began. He was carried off this field. Don't forget the pictures of Becton, of Becton crying and the whole thing. I don't know if you remember that. He had, let me show you the picture here. Injury. Let's see here. I'm going to show you guys. Now, again, I'm a Becton support. I'm not doing this to pile on or anything like that, but it's important to just remember, we're going to remember here. So this is what it looked like. Remember, he was like quite literally crying. See this pic? Can you guys see the picture?
I see it.
Yeah, you see that, guys? So there there it is. Look at him. He was not in a good way that day. And when they carried him off, he was crying. I mean, he thought his whole career, was, he knew it. He knew it. This isn't good. And anyway, so going back to that field, Pooch guy brings up a great point, which I didn't even think of, man. This is, maybe this is it. Like going back to the source overcoming it, and then it's all downhill. It's like the Rocky music starts playing. Dun, 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 dun. Maybe that's what's up. We're gonna see him pushing up, carts of hay and shit like he did in Russia and Rocky IV. Wouldn't that be great?
Or pushing up defensive linemen and tossing them aside. That works for me too.
That's right. That's right. That would work. Whatever it takes. And thank you, Pooch Guy. That was good. Red John checking in. Have you heard any news on Lakin bouncing back? Well, what I've heard from Aaron Rodgers is that the interior of the line is doing well. It's
solid.
The exterior.
Yeah.
It's the outside.
Yep.
Right. So, look, Lakin Tomlinson is an interesting one because I think many, dare I say most Jets fans had him high on their free agent list. For me, he was my number one free agent, external. I wanted Berrios back and I wanted a few guys, But as far as like going out there and getting a free agent, it was guard for me. It was right guard, really. Because at that point we had AVT at left guard. But Lakin Tomlinson for me was the number one free agent target because he had only 1 year removed from playing with our staff. So I was like, it makes too much sense. And then he comes over here right in the Baltimore game, week 1. We were like, what's happening there? What is that? He's a little bit like a saloon door, man, in the 1860s. So now he's had his good games. He was very much up and down last year, but very disappointing overall, I would say. But now he's got Aaron Rodgers behind him. And look, like we've talked about a bunch of times, Red John, it's legit. When you add a guy like that, like the play goes up, everybody's focus goes up, like the urgency, the importance. He's not going to have it, dude. Like he's not going to have it. If there's a guy that's just letting somebody in to kill him every play, like it's going to be addressed. It's not Zach Wilson just kind of passively going, all right, like this is a leader of men. And not only can that impact you and what you do, but if you're not holding your weight, it's going to be taken care of right away, in my opinion. What do you think, Gunny? You think, this year with our current build, you think Lakin Tomlinson is going to be kind of his plays raised, or do you think we're going to see what we saw last year?
I think we should see a much improved Lakin Tomlinson. And people keep talking about how like he's a liability, but listen, before last season, this guy was a solid freaking interior guard. Solid. And he was a Pro Bowl interior guard. He doesn't forget how to play football just because he threw on a Jets uniform. I think there was a lot of factors to it. Maybe it was the offensive scheme. Maybe it was not really understanding what he's supposed to. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't lack of preparation. Dwayne Brown being hurt. Maybe Brown was having to funnel some of his, like edge rushers. And I don't know. A lot of things could have gone wrong. But I tell you this. Zach Wilson was also the quarterback. A lot of times those guys didn't know where he was at back there, and they were kind of like playing on a whim. That's not going to be the case with Aaron Rodgers. Those guys are going to know exactly where he's at. If he flushes out of the pocket, he usually steps up into the pocket, and those guys understand to go ahead and just push defenders around the pocket. So I expect to see this offensive line to be significantly better. Last season, they were the 22nd ranked offensive line, even though it was a duct tape offensive line put together. That's not saying much, but they were still not the worst with all the injuries that's never happened before that the Jets took. So I think Aaron Rodgers does elevate the play of everybody, and that includes the offensive line. Also, when you have that quick release, it makes it very difficult for the defenders to get pressure anyway. And having a guy like Rodgers who can already tell pre-snap what the coverage is, what's going to happen, and talk to his offensive linemen, I also think that's probably one reason why Tippmann isn't quite in there yet, is because the ability to go ahead and read the defensive line and what the coverage potentially is going to be is a huge factor. And if Rodgers is going to be doing it, the offensive line needs to be made aware of it. I think so many things go into it. I expect this offensive line to finish top half of the league. I do. And it wouldn't surprise me if they were able to go ahead and finish higher because of the fact that Aaron Rodgers takes so much pressure off of their back. So I believe this line, as is right now, could still finish top half of the year. What's crazy is last year we were all talking about this offensive line. Everybody, to include analysts, were like, hey, on paper, this is the top 10 offensive line in the NFL. Everybody was saying it. it's the same group. Now we've got some extra pieces as well to go ahead and make sure we have some backups. And now we're talking about it's a disaster. We're going off of last season, unheard of injuries, and a quarterback who was very, very inconsistent. I think that played a huge role in it. Now you're going to have consistency in terms of the general being back there and Aaron Rodgers. And again, hoping these guys come in healthy. So I'm worried about it, but I'm not like terrified about the situation.
I'll tell you, that's a pretty bold statement there, Gunny. I got to admit. Now, I'm with it. And I think the potential is there. I mean, dude, there are so many question marks when you include Lakin, right? You include the rookie, or if Connor McGovern starts, like whatever he's going to be. Well, you got Dwayne Brown, the shoulder surgery, 38 years old. Then you got Lakin Tomlinson. Then you got a potential rookie. Then you got AVT coming back from injury. Then you got whoever, Becton, Mitchell. There's nothing but question marks. But if it all works out, I agree. They can be a pretty damn good offensive line. And all we really need is a middle of the pack. If we got a middle of the pack offensive line, Aaron Rodgers and the rest of the team can absolutely take that and make that into something. It's going to be interesting to see, man. I really would prefer if we just kind of knew who our offensive linemen were. And, they were all here for 2 years at least now. And, it's one of those things, man. Now, listen to this. Hank G is saying Testosil flavored Doritos. Wouldn't that be something, Gunny? Now, let me say that. Hold on 1 second. I got a dog crying. Just bear with me for 1 second here, John.
All right. Yeah, I see some of y'all saying crazy top half, but we're only talking about them going from 22 to 16. When you think about it, that's not a huge leap. When you take into consideration the amount of injuries we took at offensive line and inconsistent quarterback play, it's actually a very, very feasible achievement to go from 22 to 16. That's top half of the NFL.
Yeah, right. It's not that far of a jump, actually. Right. I mean, dude, you think about it. With all the problems that we did have with the offensive line and how many tackles and getting guys from practice squads and they're starting and then they get hurt, another guy comes in. You got to commend what they were doing. I mean, especially by the end of the year, they had worn down and Zach wasn't helping, with being able to really, scare defenses with any type of real passing threat. You got to give it. I mean, the offensive lines that Sam Darnold had were worse. And that was just what we built. Like Joe Douglas was able to figure out a way to get these guys playing at least, they weren't 31st or 32nd in the league, which is what Sam Darnold had. Poor fella. Gosh. But look, guys, I put the Testosil link pinned at the top of the chat. Now, I'm going to talk to you guys quickly. As you know, Testosil is sponsoring the Thursday Thick of It currently, but it's more than that, man. Like, I've been taking it, and I can't tell you how much I'm digging it right now because GreenBean viewers already, so many people have gone out and reached out to Testosil and taken advantage of the 10% off. They've altered the deal for you guys, and you can save $10 by clicking that link off the first bottle. But when you buy the first bottle, you get a free bottle. If you buy 2 bottles, you get 2 free bottles. Now, again, I don't know if that goes into the 3s and 4s and all that. I think it might end at 2, but now is the opportunity. So if you click that link or use the promo code GreenBean at checkout with the Testosil all natural testosterone booster, you get $10 off and a free bottle. And guys, the truth is, if you don't like it, you can get your money back. That's the best part of it. Look, if it's not working for you, then you can, it's risk-free. So the whole thing with testosterone, guys, men start losing their testosterone in their late 20s, and sometimes it's quicker than others. But, the energy for the gym, depression, all those things, energy, just all that stuff is connected to testosterone. If you're feeling that sort of thing, a testosterone booster might be exactly what you're looking for. Again, I don't, my whole situation being that my tests say I'm right in the normal range for my age. It's still not accurate, but when I go and get further tests, it ends up being freaking $500 a month if I want to, start on that protocol. This is another option that I'm taking advantage of, and I think it would help anybody looking in that realm. It's all natural, ashwagandha and other things in there that boost testosterone up to 400 and change percent. The trick is, guys, you can't just take Testosil and sit down with Jeremy and eat friggin' mustard Doritos. You gotta do something. So you take Testosil, you get in the gym, you do what you got to do, and you're going to see the difference. So anyway, a great deal from Testosil. I pinned it in the top of the chat. It's also in the description of the video. If you are looking at this later, you can click the link, use the promo code GreenBean, and get a free bottle in addition to saving $10 on the first one. Great deal from Testosil, everybody. And as Hank said, maybe in the future we'll have Testosil flavored Doritos. Jeremy's going to be like, those are my favorite. And my favorite flavors, Testosil. That'll be what it is. So thank you, Testosil. Blitz Crew checking in. Who's right guard if AVT is going to right tackle? McGovern or sign Reisner or trade for Martin? Well, I mean, in Blitz Crew, that's kind of what we're dancing around, right? So we do have Wes Schweitzer can play guard. So there's that. Now, is that what we want? I don't know. That's wouldn't be my first option. But I think Connor McGovern is a viable option at guard. He's played it before. Let's not forget that. He played it in Denver. And I think that would be a good one. And then, obviously, Tippmann can play guard. Like, let's say he's not handling the center duties, but he's doing really well as far as, his ability to block and do all those things. Maybe he can play guard for a year. I mean, we have options. I still think optimally you'll want to find one of your left tackles. You have to be able to play. We have Dwayne Brown. We have Carter Warren. We have Billy Martin. We have Mekhi Becton. We have Max. Somebody here's got to be able to friggin' play tackle. You know what I mean? Like, what the hell's going on? So in the event we can't get one of those guys to play at the level we need to, and you have to bounce AVT out there, the good news is that we do have Connor McGovern and Wes Schweitzer that can play guard at an NFL level. And then again, in a pinch, Tippmann could as well. We talked about it earlier. Not what we want to see, but it's there. Now, Zach Martin, if we trade for Zach Martin, I mean, dude, shit. Not that I'm cheering for that to happen necessarily, but if we pulled that off, I'm not going to be the one complaining. How about you, Gunny? You going to be bitching and moaning if we grab Zach Martin?
There'll be zero complaint. Anything to fortify that offensive line, you're not going to hear a peep from me. I'm all for it. If you're telling me we had to sacrifice the dream of Dalvin Cook to bring in a all-pro, all offensive lineman, well, this isn't even a debate. I'm all in for it. I think it's going to be very, very difficult for it to really happen. I don't think it's feasible, but I also didn't think Aaron Rodgers would be our quarterback. So now I believe anything is possible, right? So if he wants to be a Jet and the trade value is fair because we're going to also have to pay him once he gets here, why not? Why not fortify that freaking offensive line?
Now, let me say this. I'm with you. Like I said, but I want to tell you guys something. So there's a whole bunch of you folks in here right now. Now, one of our beanbaggers, and he's always around us in the chat. His name is Matt, has just donated 2 general admission Jets camp tickets for the 16th. Okay, so I have them. They're here. While we were doing the show, I just accepted the tickets. If you saw me a little bit disconnected for a moment, spacey, it's because I was organizing this stuff. And I'm stupid. So there's that. It takes me a second to do simple tasks on the computer. So I have them. They're here. If there is anybody in the chat that legitimately wants to go to camp on the 16th, how do you want to do this, Jeremy? What should we do? We got to have a contest of sorts, right? I mean, let's do this. Put in the chat. Put a milk. Well, you can't. Let me see. You got to put a fire emoji, and then I want the tickets. Jeremy's going to collect the names. If we have a bunch, we'll do a little contest at the end. If not, if it's one guy, then we just give them to you. How's that sound? So we have them. We have 2 tickets to the camp on the 16th.
You got to go to it. You can't sell them.
Yeah. What is that bullshit? You can't do that.
Yeah, go to. I would love to get those tickets, but I'm in Houston, Texas. Freaking darn it. So yeah, you got to go to it. Like that's awesome. Whoever donated, that's freaking awesome.
Yeah, that's Maniac Matt, dude. That's my dude right there. So talking Jets with Tigo's in the chat. He says, somebody going to pay for my flight too? Because I want to go. Yes, Tigo. All you have to do is accept these free tickets, and then the flight's on me. Whatever meals you want, sure. You want new sneakers? I'm in. Just go to the camp. We can't have you looking scrappy. So we'll get you a jersey, we'll get you a hat, we'll get you some new sneaks. We'll fly you in, set you up in a hotel, buy you 3 meals a day, and it's all on the Thursday thing. How's that sound? What do you think, Gunny? Think that's real?
That sounds great.
Sound great.
Sounds like a dream, but sounds great. A great dream. Joe, you gotta do it. You gotta do it in the chat, Joe. Do it in the chat.
Yeah, Tigo says, I actually do need new sneakers. Don't we all, buddy? Don't we all, man? I'd love to. You know what? If it was Tigo, I know obviously logistics are, sometimes the issue, but I'd love to send Tigo to a practice. I would. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So any guys, put the fire emoji in there and say, I want the tickets. And this is if you can really go. And like Gunny said, no, this isn't a business opportunity. This is an opportunity to send somebody who hasn't been able to get to Jets camp or, into the fold. It's an amazing experience, guys. If you haven't been there, it's really set up to be maximum enjoyment for the fans. I loved it. I can't wait to go. I'm going up there next week for another one. So it's going to be amazing. And yeah, I'd love to send it to you. So Project Prospect with Dom C. I don't know what that is. Anyway, yeah. Let's see. Maybe it's some guy, Dom Project Prospect. Nice logo, though, I got to admit. Unknown to most, Lakin dealt with a tragic death in the family, as well as not having his wife and kids in New York last year with him as they finished school. Got to think he'll be better mentally. Hey, for anybody who's a dad, and look, death, you can't minimize the impact, right?
That's facts.
Right, that's facts. But let me tell you this: I happen to have some experience with, being separated from my wife and kids. I stayed in Florida for 15 months while my wife and kids moved to Virginia for work. I only saw them like 3 or 4 days a month for 15 months. And let me tell you, Gunny, the truth is when it was happening, I had all these lofty ideas of all these great things I was going to do. Now that I have all this time, I was going to go on the beach and meditate with the moon, you know what I mean? And all kinds of shit. And you know what I really did? I worked 70 hours. I worked 60, 70 hours a week. I came home. I sat in a dark. It was like it was like it was a little house, but I would go there. I'd sit in the dark and I'd play video games with my son up in Virginia for a couple hours, and I'd go to sleep, wake up, go to work. That's what I did for 15. I did nothing. I was miserable, Gunny. It almost killed me.
Yeah, that's huge. Especially for a guy like Lakin. I think when we got a taste of him last season in One Jets Drive, he's very family oriented. You can tell that's his why. His family is his reason why, right? Like he talked about them on the show, and I knew about the tragic death in the family, Dom. I did not know that his family was not there with him. That's news. I wasn't aware of that. That's impactful. Like you're thinking about, your wife, thinking about your kids, you haven't seen them, and they're part of your routine. These are the people that are part of the reason why you do what you do, and you don't have them there to kind of reaffirm that. That could be freaking throws you off your game. So yeah, mentally he should be in a much better mind space, which goes a long way for hopefully better play on the field.
I mean, it's a great point, man. I mean, obviously we, you don't want to hear anything like that about anybody, death happens, of course, to all of us, but, hopefully, coming around from that stuff, maybe he does settle down. Look at all this. So, Hater says testosterone in men has gone down by more than 60% the last 50 years. IQs have gone down even more. Yeah, well, they're correlated. Ron Weiss, I'm going to just preface this by saying this is not true, but he says the Testosil you gave me at training camp let me and my wife have an awesome ride back from the South Brunswick. Oh, that's funny, Ron. Yeah, I got to meet Ron. Actually, we kind of hung out a little bit, didn't we, Ron? At training camp, which was awesome. We also hung out a significant amount with Ryder and Talon's Pa. That was a good hang as well. But Ron sat behind us for a little while. I think you were behind us during the T-shirt debacle, right, Ron? When I caught the T-shirt, you were right there, buddy. But I'm not out there, so slipping Testosil. I promise. I'm not like, hey man, fucking, go ahead, take 5 of these.
You're slanging that Testosil, huh?
Yeah, I got it in a Ziploc baggie, Gunny. Lucas wants to know if I've seen. I haven't been tested since it. It's more of I can feel it, Lucas. So admittedly, that's a great question. If you're looking for clarification, I haven't gotten retested. So that's something I'll do once I get to a point where I can take an after picture. I let myself. It turns out that I didn't realize it, man, but it turns out this last year I really took a turn, everybody. I let myself go a little bit. I got little boobies and things like that. So I don't know. It's like, I got a ways to go. So once I get to a point where I can take an after shot of you, I'm not going to show you the before until I have an after. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? It's like, you dance around in your bikini, once you can get to that point, you don't show everybody where you started, And my bikini's on my door. I hang it on the door for motivation, Gunny. That's what I do. My little polka dot bikini that I want to get
that's
back
how you roll?
into.
Very well.
Hey, dude. Hey, man. Well, whatever's comfortable, right, man? Whatever's comfortable. But yeah, this is funny. So yeah, let's see. I saw Duncan McLean bringing up Dalvin Cook. What do you think of that, Gunny? And Tom, I see a super chat. I'll get to you next. But real quick, I thought this was interesting. The Dalvin Cook a couple weeks ago was like, it was a foregone conclusion, Gunny. It was like, it looked like it was a slam dunk. He was going to sign. I was actually, the training camp practice I was at happened to be the practice that Dalvin Cook was there. So we saw him. I sent some videos of him talking to Breece Hall and hanging out with Woody and the whole thing. And it seemed like it was just it was all but a done deal. It was formalities. Now we're a couple weeks removed. And like you said, it's ice cold. I mean, what do you think about that? How do you see this Dalvin Cook thing? Is it over? Is it just, he's going to take a week, see if there's any injuries, and then he'll sign? What do you make of this whole situation? Do you see him signing with the Jets?
Honestly, I think in the beginning when this whole thing came out, I was definitely on that squad of individuals who looked at it as this was him trying to use us as leverage to go ahead and get the Miami Dolphins to up their price point. I saw myself shift a little bit when he agreed to go to the Jets facility and whatnot, and he kept putting more stuff and being more vocal about his desire to be a Jet. And I thought, wow, there might be something there. But I think after him leaving, I went right back back down to earth. Okay, so he's just hoping Miami will up their price. It just makes too much sense for him to go back, play football at home. The Miami Dolphins, regardless of how much we don't want to admit as Jets fans, they have a good roster. This is a team that, if they can stay healthy, could potentially compete for the AFC East. And he gets to go do it at home. And he gets to go ahead and keep most of his money because taxes are a lot friendlier there, i.e. it's tax-free. There's no state taxes. So I think for us, for those who are still believing in the Dalvin Cook dream, I think, you're talking about 80%, 20-80, that he's a Dolphin. 80% he's a Dolphin, 20% he's a Jet. And I think that's only because of the fact that there's slightly more money on the table for him to be a Jet, whereas they're sticking to where they're at with their price point in Miami. So, yeah, I do think that when it's all said and done, he winds up being a Dolphin. But I felt that way in the beginning. I had a moment lapse where I thought maybe it had shifted in our favor. But at this point, what's the holdup? No other team is really coming forward. It's between the Jets and realistically the Dolphins. He has significantly more incentive to go play for the Dolphins. So I see that being the case.
Yeah, I like everything you said. I was also of the school of thought. And by the way, the Patriots are getting shellacked. If you guys aren't watching
it's
that,
beautiful.
Now again, it's preseason, but they 20-3 by the Texans.
I don't care. I love it.
you being down there in Houston, this is good for your locale as well, right?
Yeah, this is great. Yes.
So yeah, I mean, I'm right with you, man. I thought like this is just a pipe dream. It's stupid. And then when he came and all the stuff about he's likely to sign, I thought that's interesting. Now Finnegan puts in the chat here. He said, according to Armand Salguero, the Jets and Cook are roughly $3 million apart in negotiations. Cook started at 11 and has now dropped to 8. The Jets are offering 5. So good. I mean, and good for the Jets, dude. No way. We're not paying you 8, dude. Get out of here. You're not even you're not even the bell cow. You're going to come here and be a compliment. And I get Cook holding it. Look, because the truth is at any minute, one of these starting running backs go down, there's going to be a team willing to pay him. So it's smart to hold off, in my opinion. But at some point next week, after week 2, going into week 3 of preseason, it's like, okay, you got to sign somewhere.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes. But I think I'm, good for the Jets for holding out. Like, there's no panic. That's what I love about Joe Douglas, dude. It's just, nope, this is what
collected.
This is what I have you priced at, man. I'm happy to give you this. We want you. We value you, but this is where we value you. We're not going to get caught into the Mike McCagnon Express and pay you twice your worth. Look at this. So, oh my God, that's a flag if I've ever seen one. Holy macaroni, dude. You see that?
Jeez, my guy.
Holy macaroni.
Come on.
But that happens to Zach, and we don't even see a flag.
No. Yeah, that happened to Zach. It would have been freaking offensive pass interference or something.
Who's their quarter? Who's Cunningham? Who the hell is that?
I have no idea. I think they're running a wildcat.
Yeah.
I think Cunningham's a wide receiver. You already saw Zappy play. Oh, damn, bro. That's...
Knobcraft wants to know if we can get... Dude, you ripped his helmet off.
Yeah.
Look, again, I hate the Pats and the whole thing, but dude, you don't do that to a guy.
No.
I mean, you don't fucking grab his helmet and rip. You just don't do that.
No.
Let me see how it happened before. Make sure it's not. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. He pulled, dude. Yeah, that's rough.
And he didn't stop either. You know what I'm saying? After he felt that he had grabbed the face mask. That's...
Yeah. You don't do that. Knobcraft, can we send a bottle of Testosil to Dalvin Cook? Maybe. Maybe he gets all answers. I need to play now. Okay,
incentive.
Yeah. There you go. Incentive. Hey, Jeremy, do we have any people for the tickets? One? Is it Matthias Simon? Matthias Simon wants in, it looks like. Hold on, let me see. Jeremy, what's up?
I'm not 100% sure because I asked Matthias directly. Ron Weiss definitely wants them.
Yeah, Ron Weiss wants
them. I'm not sure if Matthias wants them because when I asked him directly, he's kind of like he's putting the fire emojis, but he's not saying yes. So so Matthias, can you tell us if you?
Yeah, Matt, commit. Commitment. Well, the good news, Matt. I mean, if he lives in the same spot where I knew him to live, he lives 15, 20 minutes from the Lawrence Park facility. So that's an easy skip for you. When you get 2, you can bring your lovely wife. Or I don't know how old your kids are these days. It's been a minute since Matt and I got to hang out. I told you guys, right? Matt and I used to go to the games, run the tailgate for the greenhouse, an early Jets chat board. We sat in his driveway, he and I, and made the huge sign for the greenhouse. We said, like, it was a crafts project. We glued letters and shit. It was I don't know, the whole thing. I love Matt Simon, Matthias Simon, man. That's right. Matthias Greenhouse Simon. Exactly right, Finnegan. Well done.
Did you know that that Knobcraft, because you brought up his name before, do you know that he gifted the chat 10 memberships?
No, thank you. Oh, Knobcraft. That's right. That's he calls his, him and Crossfire, the membership gifting, he called it a collaboration. I love that. I called it a battle. He said, no. It's a collaboration. I like that. So here's who got 10 memberships from Knobcraft. Thank you, Knobcraft. What an amazing thing. So here's the newest Talking Jets OnlyFans members. Mike Justiniano. That's an interesting one. Mike. Scott Lukinger, Rob D, Rodimus Prime, Finnegan's Flight Crew. Did you get one, Finnegan? Is that no, you already had one? Oh, okay. Doobie Dubois, Zach Stuckey, Jason C. Oh, come on. Why is this thing got to refresh at that moment? Fuck is this? Allison Tuckwab, Justin Petty, Akiva Gutnicki, Jason C. And I think that's it. Yeah. Awesome. So congratulations, everybody. A special congratulations to Allison, one of the, the few women that we have in here, unless you're just a husband using your wife's,
YouTube
email,
account.
which happens, man. Let me tell you something. There was somebody last year that won something, and I wrote, "Oh, it's nice to have a woman win." And he goes, "Dude, I'm not a woman. That's my wife. It's just my wife's name. I don't know how to change it." So I'm just riding it out. I said, "Okay, that's fine too." But yeah, anyway. So we never know. We got Thomas. Let's see what else. Okay. New York Jet 69. What's up with you, buddy? He says, "What's up, Gunny? How you doing? Gunny? You good tonight?"
Doing good, man. I'm really good. Football's back.
Football is back. Football is back. I know. So look at this. Johnny Jimenez says, it's crazy because Dalvin Cook is still getting $2 million from the Vikings this year. So you'd think he'd be willing to kind of bend a little bit. It's like if you want $8 million. And, you're getting $2 million. So that brings you down to $6 million. Now you're in the neighborhood. Now we can talk. But $8 million, dude.
He's just trying to get a $10 million payday for the season.
And can you blame him, though?
I can't. I'm not mad at him.
Right.
I'm just saying I don't think the Jets should pay that.
We shouldn't pay it. Right.
No.
So Matthias Simon says, "I live 10 minutes from Jets camp. GreenBean will tell you." Yeah, I couldn't tell. I didn't remember if it was like 15. You still live in the same spot, Matt? So why don't you take the tickets? I guess it's going to be Ron Weiss.
Yeah, Ron Weiss is saying. Jeremy, he said no.
He said no, dude. What is this? Well, we're gonna leave it run till the end of the stream, right? So we'll see. Because anybody but you. That's what we're. Yeah. I'm just kidding, man. If it's you, it's you. I had this fantasy of like a little contest or something at the end, but it's fine, man. I don't give a shit as long as somebody gets it and can use it. It's going to appreciate it. And again, I ran into Ron at camp, so he's one that I know is going to appreciate it. So that's fantastic.
So it looks like Matthias wants in also. So that's going to be. So far, we have 2 people.
All right. Now, as far as contests go, if there's 3 people, we'll do a contest. If it's 2, we got to have you guys punch it out. Like the man rules. That's the way it goes.
How about 1 each? Make them go together.
Make them go together. There you go. Ron and Matthias. Those are the rules. I love it. Jeremy, I didn't realize you were still on the screen. What are you doing here? What's going on? A wet T-shirt contest Ron wants. All right, Jeremy, I'll grab you in a minute. Thank you, buddy. I literally forgot. I'm just chilling out. It's fine, of course. I love Jeremy. Whoa, I was scared the shit out of me. What are you doing? Okay, there they are. My daughter I just heard a voice next to me in the studio. I was like, "Oh," because I'm out in the middle of the woods here, man. You know what I mean? If somebody comes in here, it's usually a ghost or an axe murderer or a bear. So this was good because it was only my daughter. All right. So look, guys, we have joint practices going on with the Carolina Panthers. We talked a little bit about, some Brian Burns action, making our offensive linemen realize that, hey, if you're going to have any real NFL dreams, you got to step it up a smidge. He's been kind of running roughshod over our guys. But in the same breath, our defensive line has been doing the same thing to their offensive line. And namely, Michael Clemens has really shown up and kind of shown, look, he might be ready. He's evolving and he's ready for a greater role, maybe make some noise this year. What else are you looking for? Because this is going to lead into our preseason game against the Panthers. So, Gunny, what are you looking for in this preseason game? We know that it's going to be the Zach Wilson, Tim Boyle show. Tim Boyle looked like ass in last game. Now you have to add that he led us to the only real, to the only touchdown of the game. Zach led us to a couple field goals, but Tim Boyle got us down there, really on Brownlee. Brownlee had the drops later, but that drive, he had two really great catches. One was a terrible pass behind and low, and Brownlee was able to snag it. So Tim Boyle did lead us to the touchdown, but overall, he really didn't look too good. So what do you think about this game? You think, we're looking for Zach to take another step? Is that the main thing? Well, you Becton, obviously, but what are you looking for in this first preseason game against the Panthers here?
Honestly, for me, I want to see separation on the O-line competition. I want to see those guys that are battling it out to go ahead and kind of assert themselves as going to be the guys who could potentially be the backups or somebody that can elevate their game to take one of those tackle spots. If Dwayne Brown's not 100% ready to go, or if Becton's not 100% ready to go, I'm really intrigued on seeing somebody step up in that offensive line group to go ahead and provide us some level of security, knowing, okay, if things go worse, we got this guy, coming from after these two guys. So for me, it's that. I'm also really keen on seeing that wide receiver 6 position, right? I know right now it's Gibson and Brownlee being the top two individuals that I think could potentially get that 6th overall wide receiver slot. Honestly, I even think maybe Randall Cobb might be on the bubble. Maybe that's just me being eccentric. If we only carry 5, I still think somehow, some way Gibson and or Brownlee get the last spot in the wide receiver room. So I want to go ahead and see what those guys do. And yeah, I guess Zach Wilson, right? Like I have no intention of seeing Zach Wilson play football during the regular season. So as long as we're seeing baby steps in his progress, I'm all about it. But for me, it's more about the offensive line and that last wide receiver spot. I'm kind of curious to kind of see who it might be. I have my preference, and I know some people have theirs. So I'm really intrigued on seeing what that turns out to be. But either way, it's football. The Jets are playing. I'm going to be watching these guys like hawks because it's football. Even if it is a preseason, I'll take it.
And it's Jets football. That's the thing.
Facts.
Right?
Exactly.
Now, I want to just point out, Ron Weiss says if Matthias Simon does, in fact, go with him, he has to experience the Testosil ride home. So, Matt, that's something you got to think about, man. You got to weigh those.
Wow. Hey.
You got to weigh that out, dude. And see what's really important.
Camp experience has been really, really great this offseason. So you might want to consider it.
Now, Harry had a great comment in here. I don't know where it was. I kind of lost it. But he said, you know what, GreenBean, you can use Gunny as your after pick. I said, yeah, that's a good idea, man. Yeah.
What?
That's kind of my goal. Gunny's my goal, Shit. I don't know if anybody's going to buy it, though, Gunny. We don't look exactly.
I mean, it's all about the tan, right?
Yeah,
just gotta believe
right. I
in
got to
the tan,
spend some.
and I think you can pull it off.
I got to spend some time in the sun, and maybe we can pull this off, man. Me and you, buddy.
I got you covered.
I like it, man. That's a good idea, Harry. Let's see here. What do we got? Maybe we should try. Everybody's on the Testosil thing. That's pretty funny. This is a great comment. So I actually, it's funny. I wanted to talk about this. Malik Taylor had that big catch, right? He's the recipient of the 57-yard bomb from Zach Wilson in the Hall of Fame game. Great catch, by the way. Now the route, he did kind of stutter step on the route, which if he just kept going, I think the pass was so perfect that if he just kept going, that was a touchdown, right?
Correct. Agreed.
But you take, you don't nitpick at this point in the season, right? If that's Garrett Wilson or your wide receiver one, you're complaining about it. Like, dude, come on, you gotta be better than that. But it was a great catch nonetheless. Do you think Malik Taylor has kind of supplanted Brownlee as the potential wide receiver 6? We were all team Brownlee, but as has happened so many times, Gunny, the guy making crazy catches and looking like a star in training camp doesn't always do the same thing in games, right? We've seen it with Stevie Anderson. We've seen it with Stephen Hill. We've seen it with David Clowney, and on and on and on and on. There's always guys in training camp heroes, right? And that doesn't mean that Brownlee doesn't have a great future and everything. But at this point, you think it's Malik Taylor, or do you think Brownlee's still got that 6th spot kind of held down for at least another week?
I believe it's Brownlee. I know you said you shouldn't really critique it that much, but in terms of, a game of inches, trying to go ahead and make this roster for that last spot, that to me, hey, you could have had a touchdown, but you didn't, because you go ahead and you didn't take advantage of the throw. I think Brownlee offers a higher upside in terms of a catch radius. I think Brownlee offers good athletic ability. He's not the fastest guy, but I've been very impressed with his release off the line. He knows how to control his body and create space, and I think a bigger target like that goes a long way to being a benefit when you're getting into that red zone area where things are a little bit tighter. The speed thing is great, and I think Malik brings that in droves, but I just don't see it being enough to overcome the repertoire of tools that a guy like Brownlee has. Now, if it's not Brownlee, I even think that Taylor is behind Gibson. And me and Dom had a conversation about this the other day, and he brought some really interesting aspects to light, and most importantly, the impact that Gibson can have in the return game. He plays special teams, right? And I think that gives him an edge as well. So I don't even think Malik is even wide receiver 6 conversation. I think he's probably going to be a practice squad guy if he can go ahead and make it through the practice squad. But I think it's between Brownlee and freaking Gibson for that last spot.
Gibson, that's another one. I mean, because look, the thing is while Aaron Rodgers knows and likes Malik Taylor, right? As you said, throw it to Malik. He's trying to get him a little bit of airtime here, so get him some reps. But the truth is that a guy like a Brownlee or an Xavier Gibson is Gibson, right? Not Gibson. Gibson. Yeah. I got to say that right.
GIP.
Right. They have, we kind of know what Malik Taylor is. I mean, he's solid, but Brownlee and Gibson, they have upside. They have, you're able to develop them into, maybe something that's more than a Malik Taylor. So that's interesting. Something you don't want to undervalue. At the same time, if you're just looking for somebody solid at wide receiver 6, I don't know how well Malik Taylor plays special teams. I think he does. But anyway, it's one of those things where that's the stuff that you have to weigh out. Gibson started that game in a rough spot, man. He muffed that punt, and it looked like okay, bright lights, he's done. But he showed up later, had the 50-something yard return. So a little bit up and down. And what does that mean? It means, all right, well, look, let's get him to work. Let's see what he's got. And keep developing them and everything. But I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see because we're no longer looking for a Brownlee caliber receiver to be the guy. Like that's where we've been, or wide receiver 2. Like now it's like they're at the bottom end. That's where they're supposed to be. Undrafted free agents with upside, play special teams. That's where they're supposed to be. For far too long, the Jets have been looking for those guys. Even with Robbie Anderson, why was Robbie Anderson starting? And I mean, he made good, but it's like, that's rare. Why was he starting? Because we had nobody. We had Jermaine Kearse at that time. I don't think we had Curley anymore, but it was like, that was it. Robbie Anderson started because the undrafted free agent needed to be the starter.
Right.
And that's the positive here. Like those guys are pushed all the way down to wide receiver 6. And that's what you want to see. It's fine to have a 6 that you're developing that has some upside and can play specials. That's That's kind of what you want. So Tom Cahill, I think I may have skipped this, and I apologize. I saw the other one, and anyway, my bad, Tom. So here we go. Problem with McGovern at guard is that Aaron Rodgers' comfortability with tip and long snaps. So whether or not, like, and that was a conversation we had going into the draft, Tom, was, if we do in fact use a high draft pick on a center, is Aaron Rodgers going to want to, depend on a rookie to be the guy, the linchpin in the whole offensive line, how well we're going to do snapping, long snapping, blocking, the whole thing. But look, that might be why Tippmann has an uphill battle too. And look, it's fine with me, man. I'm in no rush with Tippmann having McGovern here. Now, again, I think we can upgrade over McGovern, and I think we should, but knowing where his floor is, kind of knowing like he's a serviceable guy, and maybe having an Aaron Rodgers behind him elevates his play. He talked about it as much. He said he thinks the competition is helping him. Aaron Rodgers being there is helping him. So who knows if he goes up 10% in, quality, that might be, more than well enough. So anyway, I think Tippmann's clearly got the upside, clearly got the future. We're hoping that can be our guy. And he looked very good in his first play, in the Hall of Fame game. But knowing that Connor McGovern is there, I think Tippmann's going to have to really show something to make it so Aaron Rodgers is depending on a rookie as opposed to a vet. What do you think of that, Gunny? You think that's part of it, like just Aaron Rodgers being there, having a rookie under center with all that could bring with it is just a little too much. Would rather just go with McGovern and let Tippmann develop a little while longer. Is that what you think is going on?
Yeah, and I think this was a topic that a majority of us discussed in regards to bringing in a center after we saw Tippmann coming in. That Aaron Rodgers has preferably in times past preferred to work with a veteran center, right? And you got to understand that this is a guy that processes so quickly on the field. He wants his snaps precise. He wants them in his hands quickly, and he believes a veteran with more reps under his belt can potentially make that happen. I think he doesn't want to have to think about his center getting the ball to him. I think he's already doing so much. He needs the center component to know, just get the ball in my hands and I'll take care of the rest. So, yeah, I'm with you on that one. I think it's one less thing he would prefer to not have to worry about. So I'm okay with Tippmann having to go ahead and take these reps and then taking baby steps and then getting better and getting better. It could be that Aaron Rodgers has told them, like, hey, listen, I just want to work with the veteran guys while this kid figures it out, because he's also right now trying to implement an entirely new offense for these guys to understand. He's trying to tell the receivers where he wants them, trying to tell the running back how he likes to hand the ball off. Like, there's so much he's trying to implement with new players around him. Should he really have to worry about the snap being right while he's trying to execute these plays? So I do believe there is a hint of that's making the Tippmann process a little bit more refined, a little bit slower. And I'm okay with it. Like I said before, to me, McGovern was a very serviceable center last year, right? He's been average to above average the last couple of years he's played here. I have no issue with Aaron Rodgers feeling more comfortable with him. Let Tippmann take his time to go ahead and learn the ropes. Maybe Rodgers will feel more comfortable with him next season. But as long as we're making our quarterback as comfortable as possible, I don't know why anybody would want to argue with that. Let him worry about operating the offense, not having to worry about the snap getting to his hands.
Yeah, I think, right? Why not? And, Gitmo Bob has a great point about Gibson. That was like his first ever opportunity. Nerves are real, man. You think about it. I get nervous sometimes. There's just a little meeting. I have to make a presentation. There's 8 people in the room. You know what I mean? And I get little nerves. Once I get going, it is what. But it's like, imagine 50,000 people or whatever it is, and how many more watching on TV, and the lights and the cameras and everybody boo and all that stuff that's going on, and the ball's in the air, and you know what I mean? I can see it. I can. Yeah. 100%. Well, and that's what makes great players great. Those guys that can push that aside and not be impacted by that. That's a big deal. Some guys just can't do it, man. They just can't. They're all the talent in the world, and they can't do it. So, look, Johnny Jimenez wants to know quickly, Gunny, what's your starting 5? If it's up to you, optimally starting 5 on the offensive line? What do you got?
Optimally, I would love to see Dwayne Brown at left tackle. We bring our boy Tomlinson along at left guard. I want to see Tippmann. Call me biased. I really want to see Tippmann at center. I think him learning from Jump Street with Aaron Rodgers could potentially get him to where Aaron would like sooner than later. And so I would love to see Tippmann getting those snaps early on. AVT obviously at right guard, and I want Becton at right tackle. I think that is our best 5. McGovern could be the backup center, and I think you're solid there, or the swing guard, right? You're solid there. That's the best 5 for me, and I would love to see that be the reality.
Let's see here. Finnegan checking in. He says Brown, Lakin, Tippmann, AVT, Becton. So, yeah, I think that's where I am, too. I'm with you, Gunny. I want to see Tippmann, too. And if it takes a couple weeks, I'm McGovern there. And I saw Salty Nuts is in the house. What's up, Salty Balls? It's good to see you. John Nolte's here. He says Tippmann would have to be working with Rodgers now if that was
Agreed.
the plan. But maybe not. Maybe another week. You know what I mean? Give them a couple weeks together. And who knows if they are or not. You know, there's a lot of practice that's inside and not in front of the fans. So we don't know. You know what I mean? We don't know everything that's going on with the team and what they really have cooking. So I agree with you, but I think there's still time to get that going. But yeah, I think best case scenario would be that Tippmann just comes out of the, the next week, 2 weeks, and it's like he's clearly the guy. That would be great. I think that would be amazing. Let's see what else we have here. We're getting ready here. Let's see. I think Brownlee has the edge on Malik Taylor from Daniel Murphy. Who's this? Who's this? Salty Butts. Salty Butts. I never said that before. Salty Balls. All right. Jets Forever says Becton is strictly a left tackle. Get that through your old noggin. Yeah, you're going to be surprised when he's over there at the right side. Don't forget, they put him on the right side last year too, man. They're if he's strictly a left tackle and he's limited in that capacity, I guess we'll find out.
I don't understand that. Like I just responded like Becton right now is nothing in terms of what we don't. It's been 2 years since the man has played football. So for you to sit there and talk about Dwayne Brown, who's been doing it at a high level for almost 2 decades, that he's the one that would have to make the adjustment. What has Becton earned for us to be that confident that he can go ahead and play this role, effectively and efficiently? It's been 2 years. So I'm sorry. I refuse to believe that they're just going to go ahead and hand Becton the keys because that's the position he wants to play. Becton wants to be a left tackle, but he hasn't done it in over 2 seasons.
Right.
In fact, we've only seen it his rookie year briefly. So I understand there's love for him there, but I can't get behind that. That's the only position he's going to play when he hasn't really proven anything yet to us for us to believe that's the case.
Yeah, I think that's well said. I mean, my hope is that throughout the preseason, he shows like he's the best option at left tackle. That's what I hope. It's an uphill battle. I'd still like to see him on the field and, so he can be a part of this whole thing and we can actually evaluate him. But it's a great point, man. The truth is that he hasn't earned a damn thing. The team has gone on for 2 years, without him. And it's time, if you're going to do anything, just play where they put you, do the best you can, dominate, and let's go from there. But I think he's best suited for left tackle, obviously. But if he can't play there this year, it is what it is. Best 5 play. Lucas checking in. Thanks, guys. GreenBean, you ready for Top Thrill 2? I am ready for Top Thrill 2. Now, I don't know when I'll get up there. Back to Sandusky, Ohio. My what sucks, Lucas? My next trip this summer was going to be Carowinds down in North Carolina, South Carolina. I don't know if you guys know that, but the theme park is literally on the border. So portions of the park are in South Carolina, portions are in North Carolina. So it's a whole weird thing. But the main attraction there is Fury 325, which is the 325-foot roller coaster. But about a month ago, somebody walking in saw a customer saw and filmed that one of the supports for the coaster was separated from the coaster. And when it went around this thing, it was like cracked and it was actually shaking. So they had to shut it down and they're fixing it. But yeah, I don't want to go down there if it's not working. So I might head up to Hershey Park relatively soon, ride Wildcats Revenge, which is a new coaster up there. So, but yeah, I'm ready, man. I can't wait till that thing's all built and open. It's going to be amazing. Let's see, Ron. I think I saw Small Heath Jet Petroleum checking in. He says GreenBean was right. The Smash Bros comment was juju. What did I say? I said it that day. I'm like, no. Why are they doing that? Why'd you say that, man? And we've seen Becton and AVT a grand total of 3 quarters since then. Think about that, man. That was 2 years ago. They were, hey, we're the Smash Brothers and the whole thing. You can't make boasts before you did anything. You just can't, man. It's bad luck, especially here. We got the freaking black cloud over us, All
right.
So, yeah, so that was it, and I hate to be right with that shit, Gunny. I really do.
No, it's not fun, but that's just the reality.
It really is. So I'm sorry to be right, Small Heath, but thank you for letting everybody know that I was. I appreciate it. Ron Weiss checking back in. He said, I think the offensive line needed a slap by Rodgers that Wilson could get killed for saying it. Well, that's it. And you can see it too. Like even in some clips from practice, like Zach Wilson doesn't have the command yet. And even though he tried, he's bewildered out there. So yeah. I think this is a good process, get the confidence of Aaron Rodgers and Hackett and everybody. So the team knows that, if and when we transfer over to Zach Wilson, that number one, he's competent. He's calmed down. He looks more decisive and all those types of things. He's got all the talent in the world. We know that. But then the command of the offense and the huddle is legit. You can run into the huddle and go, come on, guys. We're like, fuck you, dude. You just ran 20 yards backwards. Like, what are we talking about here? So it's hard to, elicit respect from these guys when you're the problem. You know what I mean? So yeah. I think, yeah, it's a good point, man. All right, I think that's going to do it, man. I think that's going to do it, Gunny. It is 10 p.m. That is the end of our show. Let's bring Jeremy Finnegan. You want to come on, tell everybody what you got going on? All right, let's bring on. This is Finnegan. He's in the background helping us out, sending us clips and all kinds of fun stuff. He's out there in Iowa. It's gotten dark, I see, Finnegan.
Yep, it is.
It was daytime when we started over there. And this guy, this is the guy that swears up and down that mustard Doritos are somehow better than nacho cheese. I just can't get past it. And I like them.
What an embellishment. But okay.
You said they were the best.
I said I think they might be the best. You know what? Watch the video. Go to Brooklyn Brothers.
Shoot me that link.
And watch.
Chaos. Shoot me that link. I want to see this for myself.
Okay.
Because hot mustard, I can't. I refuse to believe.
I mean, look, and they're good, dude. That's the thing. I don't want to make it sound like I didn't like them. I saw them. I had to buy them, and I was like, all right, I was pleasantly surprised. They were good. I ate the whole bag in, I don't know, 20 minutes. So that's a testament to it. But come on. You know what I mean? What are we talking about?
The best?
The best? Right. So, Jeremy, what do you got cooking, buddy?
What do I got cooking? There's rumors that on Sunday nights, Matt O'Leary is going to be on or in the Jets Lounge on YouTube talking to me on my Sunday show at 9 p.m. Those are the rumors. His name is Matt O'Leary. He's a nice guy. He's a nice dude.
I've heard of him.
I've heard good things. I've heard good things.
Sunday night, 9 p.m. And then I don't know. We're gonna figure out Saturday. Everybody should keep their eyes open.
Yeah,
so he's not gonna be doing it, but
right. I'm unavailable this Saturday. Sad to say, it's for a good reason, but I'm still unavailable nonetheless. So I believe for this game stream this week, I talked to O'Leary earlier. It's going to be O'Leary and Jeremy doing the game stream this week. So that'll be fun, man. Yeah, that'll be really cool. So check in. We'll be doing it on this channel. And yeah, you watch the Jets. What's that at 3:00? I think this Saturday, 3 or 4 o'clock. Is that what it is, Finnegan?
4 o'clock. 4 o'clock Eastern.
4 o'clock Eastern. 3 o'clock.
My
Central.
time.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. All right. So Finnegan, you got anything coming up? Anything you want to? Any evolution of the Finnegan Flake crew? What do you got, buddy?
Not yet. I mean, just defending the Jets on Twitter, I guess. Getting into arguments with Dolphins fans. So
there you go.
Yes. My favorite pastime.
Right. And Finnegan's Twitter is in the description, as well as Gunny's, and I don't know if Jeremy's Twitter. I think his YouTube's in there. But you can connect with Finnegan, and you really should, man. He's on top of everything. He's a great follow, and we appreciate him here. So, Gunny, what do you got coming up, my friend?
Yeah, so currently working on finishing up the edits for my AFC East predictions. So I'm going to go ahead and break down the entire AFC East, how it turns out for this coming season, as well as my New York Jets prediction video as well, in terms of what the season looks like. So I know it's early in the preseason, but I wanted to go ahead and get these out now, because if I'm right, I'm going to look really good. If I'm wrong, I have the ability to adjust in season. You know how it works. So yeah,
right,
look
buddy.
out for that. And over the next couple of weeks, I'll be dropping those videos. The editing is taking longer than I thought it was going to take.
Yeah, it usually does. Well, we call that backtracking, Gunny. Yeah, a little backtrack action. But hey, man, look, you put your balls on the table and you just say, all right, man, well, I'm risking it all. I respect that. I respect that. Now, Jeremy, before we go, Ron Weiss, is he the guy with the tickets?
Yeah, but Matthias also, I think, wants to go. So
who?
The two of them want to go. Your guy, Matthias Simon. Matthias, sorry.
Yeah, you're Jewish. You should know this stuff. What is Matthias? That's a good. I mean, it's not Jewish per se. Yeah, I don't know. What am I talking about? It's like a biblical kind of a thing. Matthias, is it? I don't even know. It feels like it is. I always called him Matt. He was Matt 56 for the first decade I knew him. It's hard for me to undo that. He's Matt to me.
And there were people in the chat calling him Matt, so you're not the only one.
Yeah.
So he and Ron Weiss. The question is, do they want to go together? Ron Weiss joked about it. So, I mean, or do they want to fight for both tickets?
Why don't you guys do that? That'd be amazing. So, all right, email me, both of you guys. Email me. The email is in the description, guys. Just go ahead and email me, and we'll work it out. I'll make a thread with both of you, and we'll work it out, man. We have a couple days, but yeah, and I'll send the tickets to whoever, man. That's fantastic. Right. Finnegan says, go together and take a picture. Right, man. That's what we're talking about. Yeah. Matt, when you and I went to the green and white scrimmage, Herm Edwards' first green and white scrimmage, the one Santana Moss, our ballyhooed first-round draft pick, ended up getting hurt in the damn green and white scrimmage. I was wearing this jersey, buddy. This was what I was wearing that day. And you and I took a picture and we put it on the message board and everything. But yeah, this is the jersey. This is it right here. I'm wearing it again. So there you go. That's when you have a good jersey, when it's like 20 years ago and it doesn't look like shit. I have other jerseys, man, from like more recent, and they're destroyed, So anyway, guys, go ahead and email me. Everybody, Testosil is in the description. It's at the top of the chat right now. You can get $10 off your first bottle and a free bottle by using the promo code GreenBean. All you really have to do is click that link. It'll take you there and just get to checkout, and the free bottle's automatically added to your purchase. And again, don't forget, if you don't like it, you get your money back. It's a fantastic deal. I don't even know if there's a better deal out there. I mean, honestly, as far as in this ride, I can't believe it. $10 off and a free bottle and a money back guarantee. But anyway, I love it. I think you will too. If you're watching this afterwards, the link is in the description. That all said, you can follow Gunny, Jeremy, and Finnegan. Their information is in the description. And don't forget about the Talkin' Jets ticket buy November 6th. We're all hanging out up there at MetLife. Monday Night Football against the Chargers. We have our Tailgate Joe experience and also on-field experiences as well. Jeremy's already going. Finnegan's already going. I know I'll be there. It's going to be a great time. I think we're down to like 10 tickets, I think, something like that. So it's almost full. So if you want to do that, jump on it, man. Get in there with us. What are you doing, Jeremy?
I'm challenging Gunny. I'm like showing. I'm doing this, waiting for him.
Yeah, I got it. All right, everybody.
I thought you were doing a little Testosil pose.
That's right. Yeah, Jeremy's taking my before picture right before your eyes. That's what's happening here. Yeah, Gunny's going to be my after picture. I really like that. That's a great
Fair
idea.
enough.
So, guys, have a great night. We will see you next time.
Here we come. Here come the Jets, man.
I want to kiss you.
Thanks, Joe.
You want to run or you want to duck down? You want to duck, just go over and get onto the bench and stay there.
You play to win the game.
My message for the fans, we're all frustrated with where we are right now.
Jets, Jets, Jets.